In 2014, 3,179 people were killed and 431,000 were injured in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. In 2015, numbers are expected to be even higher according to National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Today, there are so many public service announcements circling around for the fact that it just keeps getting worse. There is an entire YouTube channel dedicated to interviewing families whose loved ones were a victim of distracted driving. Despite everyone's efforts, distracted driving is still an issue and it never stops growing. Each day, another teen is getting a license, and because of the "it won't happen to me" mentality, they begin texting and driving. Today, texting isn't even the only way a driver can get distracted. Snapchat is an increasing threat to distracted drivers as well. Teens will actually take pictures or videos while they are driving to send to friends. Other social media sites are a threat. Drinking and driving is a threat. Even having too many people in the car is a threat. Public service announcements do not help reduce the number of distracted drivers despite their very real and vast consequences. The effect of a PSA may hold a teen over for a while, but eventually, whatever their distracting addiction may be, they will give in to temptation. While others believe the morose PSAs or the fear of dying will get distracted driving to come to a halt, it's just too good to be true. Something somewhere can always grab the attention of a driver, and without even wanting to, they relinquish their promised focus and we lose someone else to distracted driving. Laws outlawing texting while driving were first introduced around 2010. 6 years later, people are still texting while driving, emailing while driving, and even Facebooking while driving. If a ticket and fine isn't enough to stop distracted driving, then what is? PSA creators believe appealing to people's sense of emotion and fear will put a stop to it quicker than anything. But PSAs have been around for a while too. While a good PSA can draw out some tears and some quick what-ifs, the effect of a PSA doesn't follow around their audience forever. Eventually, someone will answer that one text, phone call, or bend down to pick something up, and thinking nothing of it. Everyone gets distracted. A puppy on the side of the road could distract a driver, and in that instant, they aren't going to recall the PSA they saw 2 days ago. One reason behind this is the very common way of thinking most people have, the "it won't happen to me" previously mentioned mentality. Alex Brown was 17 when she was caught on a bad road, texting while driving, and died in a fatal car crash. Her parents explained in a PSA that they always warned her about texting and driving, and they told her she would eventually get in a car crash as a result of this behavior. She always replied, "Dad, no I won't," because she didn't believe something like that could happen to her. Watching a compelling PSA like this one may realize that their state of mind is the same. But again, in the heat of the moment when you really want to answer that text or change the song, that's what you're going to do. Many teens and adults ignore the warning because they firmly believe that something so terrible could never happen to them. Both of my parents are guilty of this as well. They will text while driving and leave the steering up to their knees. But people like this have a mentality of "I'm an expert," and they again believe that they could never get into a car crash. When people think of a car crash, they mostly think of just themselves or their loved ones getting hurt. No one really thinks that distracted driving could do more than injure you, but could also turn you into a murderer. 1 second, you're answering a text, and the next, you've killed a mother and her child. These consequences are stressed in a PSA about Katie Reynolds driving with her best friend when another distracted driver killed them both. The distracted driver ran a red light that had not just turned red, but had been red for a long period of time. This driver was so distracted she slammed into Katie's car. Why would someone make a choice that could end up killing someone else? Emily Reynolds asks this question in her PSA about her sister's killer. There are countless PSAs with the same exact stories of Katie Reynolds and Alex Brown. All these PSAs are showing us is history repeating itself instead of learning from the past. People don't listen to the messages in the PSAs, and the proof is in the countless stories of people being distracted time and time again. PSAs do have an effect on their audience, but their effect is short-term and not enough to stop the serial killer that is distracted driving. PSAs show that people everywhere are making the same mistakes as distracted drivers before them. Laws outlawing texting while driving wasn't enough to stop people from texting and driving. The fear of dying isn't enough to stop people from texting and driving. And the fear of killing someone else isn't enough to stop texting and driving. While PSAs can stop someone from answering the first couple of texts they get while driving, out of fear, eventually the effects of the PSA will wear off and they will go back to thinking, "It won't happen to me."